Hey guys, it's T. Mitchell from Traveler's Cart, and we just wanted to give a huge thank you to Rice University for always supporting local Houston restaurants. Today, Morgan and I are delivering a big catering order to the university. Let us take you behind the scenes.
Many are grieving the loss of an entire family in the River Oaks area after Houston police say a man fatally shot his 2 young children and wife before then killing himself.
The couple owned 2 popular Montrose restaurants.
Jason Miles is live outside the family's home on Kingston Street after speaking with both friends and neighbors. Jason.
2 teddy bears, some flowers, and a note now sit in the entryway to what was the home of a loving family from all outward appearances.
I mean, I guess this could go for a lot of people, but it always seemed like nothing was wrong.
She posted a video of herself laughing with her husband the week she died. A loving joke, a beautiful family, a thriving business, everything looked perfect. And that is exactly what makes what happened inside that house so impossible to understand. A babysitter who hadn't heard from the family in over 24 hours made one phone call. When Houston police arrived at the Mitchel home in the River Oaks neighborhood, they found 4 people, all with gunshot wounds. Matthew, T. 8-year-old Maya, 4-year-old Max. T was pregnant. None of them made it out alive. Nobody saw a single sign, not one. Welcome back to Unheard Confessions. Today, we are walking through one of the most devastating cases to ever hit the city of Houston. Stay with me because this one is going to ask something of you before it's over. Matthew Mitchel was the kind of man who reinvented himself not once, not twice, but 3 times, and succeeded every single time. At 52 years old, his resume read like a novel. He studied at Emory University, spent time at Oxford, and began his career as a journalist, working out of London, Paris, and New York. Then he pivoted completely. He moved into the pharmaceutical industry, climbed steadily, and eventually became the president and CEO of a Texas-based clinical research company. Most people would have been content to retire on that alone. Matthew was not. He walked away from pharma, enrolled at the Art Institute of Houston, and set his sights on the restaurant world. A third act, a brand new stage. T. Mitchel was a different story entirely. A first-generation Vietnamese American who grew up right there in Houston, she spent her weekends as a child working in her family's restaurant. The industry was already in her blood before she knew what to do with it. She earned her undergraduate degree from the University of Houston, went on to complete her master's degree at Penn State, and built a sharp corporate career holding human relations leadership roles at multiple Fortune 500 companies in the hospitality and retail space. 2 completely different roads, and somehow they led to the same place. They met around 2010. Fell in love over a shared obsession with travel and food, eventually married in Mexico. And in 2019, they turned that shared obsession into something real, opening Traveler's Table in Houston's Montrose neighborhood. A restaurant built around one simple idea, that food is the most honest way to experience the world. Global dishes, bold flavors, a concept that was entirely theirs. Houston noticed immediately. The restaurant earned national attention, landed on television, and quickly became one of the most celebrated dining experiences in the city. By 2024, they had expanded, launching Traveler's Cart, a second concept. T had also stepped beyond the restaurant walls, launching her own travel-inspired clothing line in 2023, and through all of it, their family kept growing too. Their daughter Maya was 8. Their son Max was 4. T was pregnant with their 3rd child. From the outside, the Mitchells were not just successful. They were the dream built brick by brick together. In 2025, the Houston chapter of the Texas Restaurant Association named them Restaurateurs of the Year. The dream had a name. It had a face. And everyone who saw it believed in it completely. If this story moved you, like this video, subscribe to Unheard Confessions and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. The week leading up to May 4th, 2026 looked exactly like any other week in the life of a woman at the top of her game. T. Mitchel had just hosted a Houston Restaurant Association social at their establishment. 50 restaurant professionals showed up. Great food, great energy, the kind of evening that reminds you why you got into the industry in the first place. She had made such an impression on the association that they personally asked her to join their board. Craig Howard, the association's president, would later describe her as exactly the kind of fresh, dynamic energy they were looking for. A bright star, in his words. Her Instagram told the same story. A woman fully present, fully alive, fully enjoying every single thing she had worked so hard to build. That now famous post with Matthew, the one where she joked about growing old. She laughed that he thought they would grow old together and teased that he would outlive her because she was Asian. Light, warm, the kind of content that makes strangers on the internet smile and keep scrolling. Nobody caught the irony then. They could not have. Her last post was a moment with her daughter Maya. The two of them out shopping for dresses ahead of a family wedding. A mother and her little girl caught in one of those ordinary, beautiful moments that you never think to hold on to because you assume there will be 1,000 more just like it. There was no distress hidden between the lines. No cry for help buried in a caption. No indication that anything inside the Mitchell household was anything other than what it appeared to be on the surface. Just a woman, her daughter, a dress, and what should have been the beginning of another ordinary week. It wasn't. Sunday night came and went, and the Mitchell family went completely silent. No calls returned. No messages answered. For a woman as active and engaged as T. Mitchell, someone who had just been surrounded by 50 people just days before, the silence was immediately, unmistakably wrong. By Monday evening, the family's babysitter and T's sister had grown concerned enough to act. They made the call. If this story moved you like this video, subscribe to Unheard Confessions and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. At 5:26 p.m. on May 4, 2026, Houston Police Department officers arrived at the Mitchell home on Kingston Street in the River Oaks neighborhood for a welfare check. What they found inside changed everything. 4 people, all unresponsive, all with gunshot wounds. Mathew Mitchell, T. Mitchell, 8-year-old Maya, 4-year-old Max, all gone. T was pregnant. The children were found in their beds. Investigators processed the scene thoroughly. The conclusion they reached was as devastating as it was clear. The evidence pointed in one direction. Mathew Mitchell had shot his wife, his daughter, and his son before turning the weapon on himself. No signs of forced entry. No evidence of outside involvement. No struggle that suggested anyone else had ever been there. Just a family that had been celebrated, photographed, admired, and awarded. Reduced to a crime scene inside a $1.2 million home in one of Houston's most affluent neighborhoods. The city that had just handed them Restaurateurs of the Year was now trying to process the unthinkable. And the question that nobody, not the police, not their closest friends, not the entire Houston community that had loved them, could answer was the loudest one in the room. Why? Houston police confirmed there were no prior domestic violence calls to that residence. A search of county court records turned up no criminal investigations, no civil lawsuits, nothing that would have raised a single flag. To the legal system, they were clean. To their community, they were golden. And Matthew left no note. None. If this story moved you like this video, subscribe to Unheard Confessions and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. When a tragedy this shocking hits, people need answers. It is human nature. And when the authorities have none to give, the public starts looking for them on their own. The first thing people pointed to was that last Instagram post. The one where T laughed about how Matthew thought they would grow old together. The internet had smiled at it, shared it, flooded it with heart emojis, because it read exactly like what it was supposed to be. A wife playfully teasing a husband she clearly adored. Nobody caught the irony when it was posted. They certainly caught it after, because in the end, it was not age that took T. Mitchell, and it was not Matthew who did not make it to old age. The woman who joked she would not outlive her husband was gone before him by seconds, and the man she was laughing about was the reason why. Then people started looking closer at the professional dynamic between the two of them. Because while Matthew and T built everything together, it was T who had become the undeniable face of all of it. She was the one the association wanted on their board. She was the one colleagues described as energetic, visionary, magnetic. She was the one launching a fashion line while running 2 restaurants, raising 2 children, and carrying a third. Mathew, by contrast, had stepped back from the spotlight, a former CEO, a former journalist, a man with an impressive past who was now largely standing in the background of his wife's ascending present. Some began asking whether that gap between who he used to be and who she was becoming had quietly grown into something far darker. Then there was the pregnancy. T was expecting their third child. Some speculated whether that was a point of tension rather than a celebration. A third child, a growing business, a wife whose world was expanding in every direction. Whether that felt like joy or pressure inside that home is something only Mathew knew. Others pointed to the restaurant industry itself, glamorous from the outside, notoriously brutal from the inside. 2 locations, a clothing line, a River Oaks mortgage. Some wondered whether financial stress was hiding beneath the carefully curated surface. But again, no debt records, no lawsuits, nothing on paper to support that theory. And then there was the age gap. Mathew was 52, T was 39. 13 years between them. She was in full bloom, her career, her influence, her family, all growing at once. He was a man who had already peaked in 2 separate careers and was now building a third in her orbit. Some framed it as a man who could not handle watching the woman beside him outgrow the version of himself he had left behind. But here is the truth underneath all of it. Every single one of these theories is just that, a theory. Because the only person who could explain what happened inside that home on the night of May 4th made sure he would never have to. If this story moved you, like this video, subscribe to Unheard Confessions and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. The Houston restaurant world was not just shocked in the way people casually use that word. It was shocked in the way that means your brain genuinely refuses to process what it is hearing. Colleagues who had been with T just days before planning collaborations, sharing meals, building things together, were left completely blindsided. People who had personally sought her out, who had seen something rare in her and wanted more of it in their world, now found themselves trying to make sense of a loss that simply did not add up. Her family asked for one thing from the public: privacy. T's sister confirmed the deaths in a heartbroken post, sharing photos of T and the children. All of them smiling, all of them full of a life that was supposed to keep going. Friends described her creativity, her honesty, her vision, the way she made every room better just by walking into it. And through all of it, the doors of Traveler's Table and Traveler's Cart stayed open. The staff kept showing up, kept cooking, kept serving. Because sometimes the most powerful tribute is not a speech or a memorial or a hashtag. Sometimes it is just refusing to let what someone built disappear. Here is what this case forces us to sit with. We live in a world where we have convinced ourselves that danger always has a face, that trouble always leaves a trail, that if something is truly wrong behind closed doors, someone, a neighbor, a friend, a court record will catch it before it becomes irreversible. The Mitchell family had none of that. No red flags, no paper trail, no whisper of what was coming. And that is the most unsettling truth of all, because T. Mitchell was not hiding. She was out in the world thriving, building, laughing, posting, planning. A woman pregnant with her third child, hosting industry events, being asked to join boards. There was no version of her public life that suggested anything was wrong. And yet something was deeply, catastrophically wrong somewhere she could not see or could not name or perhaps never got the chance to. We may never know which one it was. If this story moved you like this video, subscribe to Unheard Confessions and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. What we do know is this. Her name is T. Mitchell, a first-generation Vietnamese-American woman who built something extraordinary from the ground up, who poured herself into her children, her businesses, her community, and her craft, who made rooms better just by walking into them, who made strangers smile with a caption, who made industry professionals lean in and say, yes, that is exactly who we want in our corner. Her story does not end in that River Oaks home. It ends with every table still being set at Traveler's Table, with every customer who walks through that door, with every person who hears her name and remembers not how she died but how completely, unapologetically alive she was. Maya was 8 years old. Max was 4. They were found in their beds. And T was carrying a child who never got a name. That part does not need a theory. That part just breaks you, and it should. Because here is the question that this case leaves behind, long after the shock fades and the news cycle moves on. Why has this become a pattern? Why do people who cannot cope with whatever they are facing decide that everyone around them has to go too? If Matthew had a real, legitimate, unresolvable crisis, what did those children do? They were 4 and 8 years old. They never even got the chance to understand what was happening. Murder-suicide is not a solution. It is the most permanent, most selfish expression of pain, one that silences everyone else's story along with your own. T. Mitchell deserved better. Maya deserved better. Max deserved better. The child who was never born deserved better. And so does anyone else out there right now who is quietly watching someone they love carry something too heavy to hold alone. Check on your people. The ones who seem fine, especially the ones who seem fine. Share your thoughts in the comments below. This conversation matters. And if you are not subscribed yet, hit that button right now, turn on your notifications, and join the Unheard Confessions community. We will be following every update on this case as it develops, alongside more true crime stories that the world needs to talk about. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.